bring in, especially if your character's madness is manifesting in post-traumatic stress disorder or an addiction to drugs. He's using it as a coping mechanism. Have him remember those days before all of his problems, before all these things happened. Have him lament this loss and reflect upon the person that he has become. Don't feel like you need to go nuts with the madness either. Pun intended, I suppose. You can slowly fold it in. You can slowly bring it about. You don't necessarily have to have your Malkavian character be an obvious Malkavian. People might think he's a Ventrue for forever, until they start seeing strange habits of his. People start disappearing. They see him start to unravel, especially under stress. Your character can be quite normal, but when the chips are down, that's when the straight razor comes out and people die. Sweeney Todd, right? So, secondly, a character can go mad in the course of play. This doesn't have to be something at character creation like with a Malkavian. Perhaps in a game of Call of Cthulhu, of course, a character's almost destined to go mad, so you will have to deal with this. You will have to think about how your character is going to manifest a deranged mind. But you can also bring it about in D&D. I mean, really, adventurers have violent, short lives. They see things that you're not meant to see, even if it's just fighting orcs and things like that. I mean, these orcs they're savage non-humans. I mean, think about this horrendous battle with blades and there's blood, and they liberate a camp that the orcs have taken over, and they see the things that the orcs have done to the prisoners. That'll stick with you. A character in D&D can begin getting madness. For example, I'm currently playing in a Game of Thrones game in Westeros, and my character he's starting to unravel at the edges because he's only an 18-year-old kid, and so far he's killed 4 people in combat, and he's starting to unravel with this post-traumatic stress of the violence that of the North, and living with that, being out in the wilderness and having wildlings and bandits attack him and try and kill him with just a chunk of sharp metal. That's what a sword is. It's just this brutal chopping thing that, melee combat is horrific, and it only makes sense for a character to be scarred physically and mentally by this sort of combat. And that can lead to addictions. Addictions are not purely physical. They have an extreme psychological component. And a character might turn to a substance as a coping mechanism. That doughty dwarven warrior who has always stood against the monsters using his mighty hammer to smite them, he might start drinking a bit more heavily after the things that he's seen, especially if he's just gone through a dungeon that is full of aberrations, things from just a far distant realm, their psychic attacks worming their way into his head. Perhaps dwarven ale is not enough, and he starts smoking, goblin opium. He just sinks deeper and deeper into an addiction because he just can't handle the things that he has seen and things that he has done, things that he's experienced. Horrible things. Now it's time for a film reference. I find that Leonardo DiCaprio is actually excellent at portraying a character with a derangement. He's very good at acting like I'm a professional character. I'm very clean cut. I know what I'm doing. But when people go into my subconscious to steal the dreams of another, I bring in a freight train that goes down the middle of Main Street and knocks cars all over the place because he's not all together. It's an act that he puts up, but inside he's got a frayed psyche. He's got anxieties, and he's got fears, and he's got post-traumatic stress, and it's all bubbling up. It's all coming to a head. And this man in a suit, this man who seems so collected, he's just as shattered as everyone else, isn't he? Perhaps more so. The troubled professional, it's an archetype that he does an excellent job of, and it's a very interesting character to portray. One whose madness it's under these layers, but in times of stress, here it comes, and then it's out. There's no putting that genie back in the bottle. So, in the end, madness is really, it can be a new chapter in your character's life. It does not have to be the end. In fact, if your character gains a derangement, I suggest that you don't retire that character. This is a new chapter. This is something new to explore. This is something new to roleplay. Embrace it, explore it, find out what this character might do, what this character might think. Have him lament his loss, especially if a character is. There are times when you can see yourself sliding into the madness, and you rage against that slippery slope, but that boot always pushes you back down under the mire, doesn't it? Well, thank you for watching my strange ramblings on derangements in RPG. I hope this has helped you. Please leave a comment, and please leave a video response. I'd be very interested to see how all of you have used madness and derangements in characters, in NPCs, and in campaigns in general. Thanks for watching. I'm Trevor, and this is The Game Room.